Want your invoices to be faster, cleaner, and more consistent? It starts with setting up your products and services the right way in QuickBooks Online. I'm Jenny, a professional bookkeeper, and in this video, I'll show you how to add and manage items in your products and services list so every invoice is quick, accurate, and client ready. If we look at the screen, we are on the sample company again. We can come over on this left-hand side to get ourselves ready to create new invoices. We need to have some things set up beforehand. If you've watched my previous videos, the sample company already has some of these things set up, but I thought I should show you how to start doing that. If we come on this left-hand side into sales, at the very bottom, we see products and services. This is where we're going to set up all these products and services that get added to our invoices. I'm going to create a couple of new ones, even though there's a lot in here, just to show you how to do that. We start by clicking on this green New button, and then we have to decide which type of item this is. As you can see, there is a description for all these different ones. We are going to add an inventory item and a service item. I'm going to start with my inventory item. There's a lot of information you can add in here. It's up to you how much you actually add. The first item I'm going to add are garden ornaments. This just kind of goes along with the theme of the sample company, which is a lawn care and design company. If you want to, you can add a SKU number. That's up to you. You can also add a photo of the thing you are putting into inventory. Just a note with this photo, it does not show up on invoices. It will just show up in this products and service area. Now we have to select a category for this to go into. The way this company has things set up is they have subcategories. So we can decide to put it in one of these places already created, or we can add a new one. I'm going to put garden ornaments in design. This area right here is something that I don't generally use. The reason for that is it can kind of screw things up a little bit when you are adding things to inventory and taking them out. Another thing to kind of keep in mind is you can track inventory in QuickBooks Online, but you can only track in the Plus or Advanced subscription levels. If you're not in one of those subscription levels, you're not able to actually track your inventory in QuickBooks Online. Another thing to kind of keep in mind is if you are not doing all of your invoicing in QuickBooks Online, you probably don't want to track your inventory in QuickBooks Online because you're going to have to do a lot of manual data entry. Just to recap, I don't usually put anything in this area. If we're tracking inventory in QuickBooks, we need to make sure we choose. This one just says inventory asset, that's fine. Description, this is what will show up on your client's invoice in that description box. It is important that you put something here. I'm just going to, again, name it garden ornaments. Sales price or rate. This can either be left blank or you can enter information in here. The choice that you make depends on the item that you're selling. If it's always the same price for a certain unit amount, then you can put a price here and it will automatically populate in your invoice. If it's something that you are spending a different amount on, given the individual needs of that client, you probably don't want to put anything here because it's going to be different for everyone on their invoice. I am actually going to leave this blank because when you're thinking about things that people are putting in their garden, they're different prices depending on what they get. I do need to make sure that I choose an income account. This is where this item will show up on your profit and loss. Right now, it's in sales of product income. So when I pull my profit and loss report, I will see any sales of garden ornaments showing up in that sales of product income. Again, I can click here, I can add a new income account if I'd like to, or I can just select the one that's already here. The next part here is sales tax. This is something that varies a lot from state to state, and in certain areas of each state, there are different sales tax rates. I can't just give a blanket statement on this because it does vary a lot depending on where you're located. You have to do the research on what's taxable, what's not in your particular area. And then you need to make sure that it's applied correctly here if you are applying tax in your invoices. Right now, this is saying this item is taxable at the standard rate. We can click on this to edit sales tax. There are some different categories here. QuickBooks does try to help you with these different things. I'm not going to go through these right now, but you can look in here and it will help give you some good information. I do know that in a lot of states, inventory items are generally taxable and services are generally non-taxable. So that's just kind of the rule of thumb I'm going to go off of. That's not true in every location, but generally speaking, it's true in a lot of places. I am going to say that this is taxable. So I'm making sure that that is checked, and I'm going to click on done. When I come down here further, I can also enter my purchasing information. I can describe what's on the purchase forms. So if I am always ordering a certain thing from a certain vendor, I can write down what's in the description line on their invoices that they're sending me. If it was something that I'm always ordering, it's usually the same price. I'm usually getting it from the same vendor. I can add purchasing information in here, and it will just be in there to remind me, hey, this is what you normally get. This is what it normally costs. This would be the expense account that you want it charged to. And then you can put your preferred vendor here. This is something you don't need to fill out, but it's here if you want it. This looks good for me for the purpose of this video, so I'm just going to hit save and close. Because the sample company is tracking their inventory, you see this one out of stock. That's because I just added the garden ornaments and I said that I didn't have any of them. Now we're going to add a new service. Again, we're going to click on the green new button, and I'm going to click on service. The service that we're going to be offering is mowing. I can add a picture if I want to. I can add a SKU number. Probably wouldn't have one for that specifically, but I might. I'm going to put it under landscaping. Here in service, you can see there's this little checkbox that says I sell this product or service to my customers. If I didn't sell this, I could uncheck this, but we're talking about creating invoices here, so we would be selling this to our customers. I'm just going to add a description that will show up on my invoices. For the purposes of this video, I am going to say that our sales price or rate, we charge $50 an hour for this service. If we look at our income account, it's showing us a few more here, but we are selling a service. So I'm going to select service. Taxable standard rate. I'm looking at the sales tax again. It's default picking that this is taxable. I'm going to say in my location, this is not a taxable item. So I need to make sure I select non-taxable. Click on done. Mowing isn't something we really are purchasing from anyone else. So this one I could just check this box and none of that purchasing information would even be available on this one because I don't need it. I'm going to save and close. Now that I've created those items, they are available for me to add to my invoices. I could come in here and create an invoice and actually add these items that I just created. I'm just going to pick Amy's Bird Sanctuary again. And if I add my garden ornaments, you can see right now that there is no rate that's showing up here, no amount, but the check mark for taxable is checked. So I'd have to make sure that I entered my amount into here. We'll say the garden ornaments that they got cost $150. And we also did some mowing for them. If we look at this, we can see our rate of 50 is automatically filling in, but it's giving us a quantity of 1. Basically, this is saying we're charging $50 per hour and we mowed for 1 hour. If we change our quantity, say it took us 3 hours, it will automatically update our amount. And the checkbox next to tax is not checked because we made this a non-taxable item when we created it. Setting up your items list now saves you time later and helps make sure your income is categorized correctly for reporting and taxes. If this helps simplify your invoicing process, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Your question might be featured in an upcoming video. Thanks. Bye.